let's talk about the Liverpool fans and Jurgen Klopp and all of the VAR.
Yeah, let's get into this because a lot of people were upset last week.
Yeah, a lot of people have been upset, and Craig benefited from it, so he's probably loving life. First thing that happened, obviously, we watched it in real time. We all thought, what's going on here? Are they not checking for the offside? We were gobsmacked. It turned out have you all heard the audio?
Yeah.
What do we make of the audio? What's the problems?
Can I just say one thing before we actually delve into it? Why don't they change the language they use? They sound like a load of coppers talking. Like it's all.
They are.
But it's just the jargon of it. It's all just so confusing. Just say, I'm going to look into it now. I'm going to see whether it is offside or not. It's check complete. Yep. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like it makes it more confusing than it needs to be for a group of people who have shown time in, time out that they're pretty incompetent when it comes to this.
I used to be a deep sea diver, right? Never told you that. And we would talk to each other underwater, right? And this is the sort of thing, right? It was life and death, yet we'd still talk with more calmness and more clarity and more regular English than these fucking guys sorting out whether it was a goal or not. Like and also for me, how could there not be confusion? There was no one on that call who sounded like they were in charge, in control, and actually leading the situation and going, what's going on here? At no point did anyone seem to... And do you know why that is? I'm convinced. No one wants to take responsibility and no one wants to buck stop with them.
Exactly what you say there. No one wants to take responsibility. There was one point, wasn't there? And I don't know who was the person saying this, but he goes, are you happy with that? Are you happy with that? Rephrase what you're saying. You don't mean, are you happy with that? That is your way of saying that decision is wrong. Yeah. But you don't want to say it. So you're going, you happy with that?
Mate, that was the replay operator, the most junior person in the room, was the one that was going, are you sure you want to give this decision? I've drawn the lines. This is the guy that draws the lines. He isn't a ref.
But look how you just worded it. Are you sure you want to give it? That's not how he worded it.
Yeah.
He was going, are you happy with that? Be a man, put your foot down and
none of them
were men. Accountability.
Bunch of fucking pussies.
That guy isn't a ref. That guy is a technician that's there to draw the lines. That's as simple as, that's what he does. He brings up the replays. So it's really the assistant VAR and the VAR that need to be there, and the assertive ones that need to be men and make...
What I found very interesting about it, the absolute egomaniac, Mike Dean, he was back. He was on the...
With Paul Merson.
Paul Merson. He was one of the panel shows. And Mike Dean, Mike Dean, he would love it. He wants to be a celebrity as much as possible, so he will jump at any opportunities to do anything like that. But Mike Dean actually made a very, very valid point for once. And what he said, I hate Mike Dean, what he said was, he basically said that although everyone's used this perfect scenario of we just stop the game there and then, even though it's playing, and we say, look, we go back to it. What he was saying is, if you are a owner of a football club, say for example, Daniel Levy, he will know, or someone around him in his team will have the protocol and the rules of VAR. So say for example, because it is against the rules, no matter what, you're probably getting sued. Do you know what I mean? So if say for example, Liverpool go on to draw that game, win that game, and Daniel Levy then looks into the protocol of VAR and realises in the rule book that you're not actually allowed to do that, no matter what, there is a media storm. You are getting sued by someone, something.
So we can accept the rules are wrong then. And Mike Dean, the funny thing about Mike Dean is that he is a proper copper, and he goes, Paul Merson goes, well, we need a proper footballer in there who can actually fucking untangle this shit and get some leadership in there, who really has played the game. And Mike Dean goes, well, they wouldn't know the rules. And the best bit about it was, it's like, you think that these footballers can play the game for 20 years, but they can't do a bit of reading and figure out the rules and then apply them to a job. Like, how insulting.
But it's too biased though. You can't have the top players that played in for these
I don't know why.
teams.
How can a footballer be any less biased than anyone else in football, whether it be a manager, a fan, a referee? We all have unconscious or conscious biases. We need, whether it's a footballer or not, I don't really mind, authority, leadership. That was a bunch of pussies on that court.
That's a yellow card.
It was embarrassing. So the actual decisions that took place that day, we had the offside, which we all know was wrong, and the goal should have stood. Then we had 2 red cards. We had 2 red cards. What do we think of those red cards? Just out of interest.
Can I just say, sorry, I think they were both red cards. I think the first one, 100% Curtis Jones, was a red card. I'm not hearing any of this stuff about the ball. Gary Neville was pissing me off with that. He's someone I thought would straight away say that is a red card, but that was a red card. I think the only bit of injustice was the first challenge from Jota didn't look like a yellow on Ndogi. It didn't look like a yellow. It looked like he tripped over his own leg. The second one was a yellow. So yeah, you could say, all right, he should never have had a first yellow to begin with. But once you're on the yellow, you've got to control how you make tackles after that. So I don't have sympathy. I think the second one was a yellow, and if you're already on a yellow, it's a red card. So
in regards to how Liverpool reacted and Jurgen Klopp and the wanting the replay, what are we saying about that? Do you think
he's got to charge it to the game? He's got to charge it. Simple as that. Everyone has these moments, and it balances itself out in football where, you know, it'll go for you. We've seen a lot of times when Liverpool have had some crazy decisions. Even when he won the league, there was stuff that it's super extra time. There was a lot of things that are going for them, where the whole Liverpool, you know, the VAR part in their name, where it comes from. So they just need to understand this is their moment of it's not working for them at the moment. It will balance itself out.
So you're being too nice. Klopp, that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. No. It was embarrassing. Like, and I'm not just saying that as a Spurs fan or someone that's trying to avoid a replay. Like, the reality is, every team gets an injustice with VAR. Some worse than others. Yes, this might even be the benchmark, unfortunately, for you, Liverpool. It was bad. But the reality is, the goal was in like the 30-something minute. All right, you had 10 men. So even if you was given the goal, you had to play another, 60 minutes with 10 men. The result was not a given. It was not a given result, Klopp. So for you to ask for the whole game to be replayed of a goal that potentially, you know, should have been given that early on in the game is ludicrous. That's the first thing. The second thing
argument is, though, just to make it clear, he said it's never, ever happened before where referees have acknowledged like that it was the wrong decision in that sense, like as it was happening or something like that.
So we got to be punished for our goals now after that, and play a whole other game again.
Yeah.
No, I'm just that's what I'm putting out there to Klopp. Yeah. You're opening a stupid door, and that's the thing about Klopp. Like, after the game, we were all surprised. We were sitting here after the game thinking, how is he? Oh, what's his presser going to be like? He was calm. He handled it very well. I was actually impressed by, you know, how he kept his emotions in check. And then you go into a midweek presser and then basically spew that nonsense. It just looks silly, man. Like, I don't know why he did that.
Where do you draw the line with that replay? Because then it's the precedent you set going forward. How many matches could potentially... You'd have AC Milan going, do you know what? That 2005 final, Jerzy Dudek was off his line, wasn't he? I think we should...
The biggest mistake that happened online, I mean, look, Twitter's just a joke, isn't it? But the amount of infighting that was going on between football clubs going, you haven't had it as bad as us. Remember when we got fucked by on this day, on 2019 or whatever? And I was like, we're all getting fucked by it every week, lad. Yeah. Can we not just band together and accept we all need to like make a bit of a movement against VAR?
Yeah.
But this is what you want. You want the dividing, don't you? You want all of these fans bickering.
No, but VAR wasn't the problem, Brian, though. That's the thing. It wasn't a VAR problem. VAR does its job. It's about the human that's controlling VAR. VAR has actually cleared up loads of goals that should have been goals throughout the years. Goals that were actually offside or onside. Every week it clears it up. Ooh.
You know what?
Every week it does its job. It's just unfortunate on this occasion there were some incompetent individuals in the office that let Liverpool down on that occasion. That doesn't mean there needs to be a replay or we need to rethink the technology. Unfortunately, the technology's here and it does its job.
The lawsuit type talk. You know that when there was a statement put out by Liverpool about we may take further action.
It's just they want to show us. They want to show some teeth.
Yeah, Liverpool saying they want to escalate it to who? To what? Like, what is the justice you're looking for? What's the outcome of that? I don't understand what putting that statement
I think
means.
that's applying as much pressure on the Premier League as possible.
He put his head to do what?
To be favourable to them moving forward.
Yes,
sort of thing.
I've never seen a club or a manager or even, you know, and I'll tread lightly with saying this, a fan base be so upset about something. It's unprecedented. We haven't seen it on this level before. But everyone has had an injustice from VAR.
No, but Liverpool,
everyone's had it. Everyone.
He's doing the Fergie thing, and Fergie had this way of making sure that he keeps the referees in check. So him doing that just lets them know when if another situation happens, think twice when you're going to do a bad decision against Klopp. It works.
So that means you're kind of creating bias. Now that's not good.
It's
that's
smart.
not good.
No, but I like it. As a manager, it's a very
But for the integrity of the game, that's not good.
What Klopp's doing is he's going to make referees fearful of going against Liverpool.
That's not fair, though. Yeah. That's actually not fair.
It's smart.
But he's turning a shit situation into the most positive one. And I'm not saying it's a good idea or that I support it, but I understand the manipulation that is being
applied. But we're going on, this is what's annoying. We're going on like this goal was the last minute winner for Liverpool. And it was
I'm talking about...
What are we talking about? It was a goal in a game, early in the game.
Yes. But I'm talking about, he's thinking about the next game and what happens after this. He wants to say, do not do a bad decision against Liverpool, because look at how far we'll take this. We're willing to take this to court. We're willing to do whatever it takes for you to make sure when you blow that whistle, you think twice.
So I thought was hilarious as well. Some of the fans starting petitions and stuff and trying to get other fans to join in it. And then the other fans were basically saying like, hold on, you lot weren't doing this when we had our injustice. They're like, no, it's about the bigger picture. Yeah, but it's only about the bigger picture now. It's about your club.
But one of the things I think is a mistake is to stop those guys who were on that call from refereeing future games. Like, they need educated. Like, punishing them, well, are they going to get any better? Like, sit them down, make someone accountable. Say, you were supposed to be the fucking leader in the situation. You were like a fucking, you didn't even make as much as noise as a fucking church mouse here. So what was going wrong? Ask them questions, have it out and say, this is what you should have said, this is what you should have done. Like, suspending them.
You're going to get Eddie Howe in there, innit?
It's so...
You're going to get Eddie Howe in there.
Eddie Howe will get a character out of them. You made Joe Linton into a warrior. No, but like... suspending them is just all it does is go, well, we've done this so everyone can pipe down. And it's so performative.
Another thing that Mike Dean said on this panel show, whoever was talking,
and Mike Dean.
He said, sorry, but I just he does my nut.
He loves it.
So another thing he said, someone put the questions to him and they said to him, listen, what would have happened if the VAR assistant in control had have gone against the protocol and had have called the game back? And Mike Dean, as if it was the worst thing in the world, went, I don't think you'd have seen him in the VAR room again this season.
Wow.
This season? Who cares? What, so he wouldn't have been making the judgments again this season?
Wow.
That doesn't matter, because clearly none of them are that competent anyway. So it's like, you're saying, don't think I would have seen him again this season. Okay, so he wouldn't have worked for VAR again this season. He would have been back again next season. It doesn't really make that much difference, because they're all going to serve suspensions or have some sort of thing go against them anyway.
There was a list created, just found this on Twitter here, of Manchester City's favouritism that they've had from the system. Like,
should be good.
In 2022, Everton got an apology after Rodri handball wasn't given as a penalty. Everton lost 1-0. Liverpool lost the title by 1 point. This decision inevitably gave them, and then there's another one. Arsenal got 2 apologies, which cost them 5 points. City won the league by 5 points. And it goes on and on. So,
hadn't the VAR team been somewhere in the week as well?
Yeah, they went to Dubai, yeah.
Can I just say something as well?
Barclays paid for the lot.
Yeah.
If this was 10 years ago before VAR, that goal just would have been chalked off and that's it. Because the flag went up and that was it. So let's think about all the goals before VAR was introduced that were correctly given as offside. And in the history of football, all the Premier League, the last, 30 years before VAR came
England
about,
might not have won a World Cup.
There were loads of goals that were correctly given offside. And as football fans, we just went, you know what? That linesman got it long. We never, we never did this.
Yeah.
We never went, we're going to escalate here, our statements. What was going on, right?
I like everyone drawing lines.
If there was no VAR, like the flag just would have went up and you wouldn't have had your goal.
Go around the table now. Are we all in favour of keeping VAR?
Yes.
So, like, you wouldn't change anything?
No, you can make it automated like they did in the World Cup. I think that's...
The Champions League system, the World Cup system.
Automated, that's smart. But keep VAR, I think it's brilliant.
I think that what we need is more transparency and a complete revamp of the way they communicate to each other. And I think the minute we go to VAR on TV, the audio should switch from commentary so that we immediately hear what's being said with the VAR. I don't think we should be kept out of it.
Have you seen it? I've got it. Are you happy with that?
Yeah. I wouldn't be
right
mad if it got scrapped. I wouldn't mind.
No,
I wouldn't. I miss football the way
we played 100 years of football without it.
Yeah, I would say if it was down to me right now, although we can say we can revamp it, I don't have confidence in their competence, so I would just say scrap it. I would. Do you know what I don't like? Do you know what I don't like? More or less, we're passing the buck. Like, I don't like the fact that like my team Chelsea hardly ever score goals. When we do score a goal, I want to celebrate. I don't want to get made a meme out of like 2 seconds later when the goal gets disallowed. Do you know what I mean?
I missed that part of it. The celebration part is been killed.
We get 2 celebrations now, don't it?
It's the second one never hit.
Or a celebration either way when the goal gets banned.
Is there a happy medium where we minimise it so that we have like, was it over the goal? Was it offside? The rest,
I think goal line and maybe if we can get away for the offsides, but that's about it. I think like, what's the point in having a ref on the pitch?
These screens as well, where they have to go, the ref has to walk over to the screen to then basically have a freeze frame of a really bad, because as soon as they go over to the screen, as soon as they go over, the decision has been made. It's just like we're just wasting time. Like football is meant to be quick. It's meant to be like there's meant to be like a flow of the game.
Do you know,
and that's what I miss. I
miss very
like
NFL.
Do you know the ones I don't like as well? Like where there's a great bit like pattern of play, and then they check it as offside, and it's like the person's shoulder is a bit past the defender's boot.
That's
past their boot, and it's like, it's offside. Before VAR, that was a perfectly good goal. That was a perfectly good goal. Their foot was all the way there.
Good news, mate. Arsene Wenger, your best mate, has solved that problem.
What do you mean?
Arsene Wenger has submitted a rule to go into the IFAB system where the offsides are determined from the player being in front of them completely. So, i.e., there has to be air between the players.